Hello, my name is Dr. Lawrence and welcome to Econ 500. So I hope that you will find this class very interesting. There's always something interesting going on geopolitically and with the economy. And so this semester, we have the whole geopolitical issue with Russia invading the Ukraine. And so we'll be talking about that periodically. I'll mention that that's obviously going to come up when we talk about economics. And the other issue that we're facing this semester with the economy, of course, is inflation, increasing inflation. And we'll talk about what that is, what it means, and how the Federal Reserve tries to combat inflation. In fact, we're looking at several rate increases, interest rate increases, one being on probably on this Wednesday, for quarter point, Wednesday, March 16th. So anyway, the purpose, I'm not going to make long videos for you to watch because I know that it's better to have succinct information in a short time frame. So this video will be short, and it's going to, what I wanted to do was go over the syllabus just to give you some additional information that you might not get from just reading the syllabus. And then when you look on Moodle, you'll see that I have notes for each chapter, but I'm also going to post short videos that will give you the main takeaways for each chapter. So your first assignment, the report or homework assignment 1 is chapters 1 through 8 of the first book. And so today's Monday, if you give me till Wednesday night, I should have some short video synopses of each chapter posted along with the notes in that first section in Moodle. All right, so let me share my screen and I'll pull up the syllabus and we'll go over that. Hang on one second here. Okay, so here's the syllabus. So this is Econ 500, and you're taking this class online. And my goal is for you to have the best experience online, just as great of an experience as if you were taking it in person. So it's session 2. It's an 8-week session. As you know, our MBA program is now 8-week sessions. So we will we're starting today, March 14th. It goes till May 11th. And the May 12th is when the grades are due. Some of you know me and maybe have even had classes with me before. I've been around Nichols for a while. I've been here since 2005. I teach finance classes as well as this graduate economics class. I have taught other econ classes in the past and some stats classes, but what I've been teaching for the past several years is the econ class in the MBA program and the executive MBA program. And then I also teach several upper division finance classes. All right, so this is where my office is in Whitehall, 103A Whitehall. My phone number, here's my office phone. Feel free to call my cell phone. Call or text me, not a problem at all if you text me. Here's my cell number. And then here's my Nichols email. I find texting is most efficient because I've always got my phone by me, as most of you do. So I'll see that right away. If you send me an email with a question and you want to make sure that I see it right away, just send me a text and say, hey, Dr. Lawrence, I just sent you an email. Please take a look at it. But anyway, feel free to call me or text me. Not a problem. Here's my office hours. You can come and feel free to come and see me during my office hours, or I'm usually there most days. I'm there Monday through Wednesday, and then usually on Thursday mornings, typically not there Thursday afternoon or Friday morning. But feel free to stop by if you have any questions or just want to say hello. Also, if you can't come to campus and you want to set up a meeting, feel free to set up a Zoom session with me. Just give me a call or text and I'll set up a Zoom session. You all know our MBA director, Mr. Ray Peters. Here's his information. If I do make changes to the syllabus, I'll post the date. I don't anticipate having to revise the syllabus, but we have to put that statement in there. There's two books for this course. So the first book is a paperback. Let's see, oh, these are backwards. Okay, this is the first book that we're going to be using. The first book is the paperback book, which is number 2 here, The Economics of Macro Issues. This book is awesome. I've been teaching economics for years. I have a graduate degree in economics. And when I saw this book, I thought, finally, there's a book in economics that explains how economics impacts the real world. And so I was really excited when I found this book, and I've been using it for several years. So I think you'll really like this book. It's an easy read and super interesting. So this is the book we're going to use for the first half of the class, and the first exam is based off of this book. Then we'll move into managerial economics, which is more of it's a micro-econ type book. This book is more macroeconomics. Macroeconomics meaning the macro view. We'll be discussing things like interest rates, gross domestic product, inflation, the labor, those things that affect the whole economy. Whereas the managerial economics is more from it's microeconomics. So think about the firm, the cost function of the firm, profitability of a firm, the break-even point. How competitive is a firm? Is a firm in a perfectly competitive environment, or is it in an oligopoly, or is the industry more of a monopoly? And so this book, macro view, this book here, more of a micro view. And so this book is not as, it's not as interesting, not as fun as the second book, but it's hard to find economics books that are not super theoretical. And for this class in our MBA program, we really wanted to get away from a heavily theoretical book and a book that has a lot of math and such in it. And I wanted more of a practical book. And so this one is the best that I have found over the years. This is about the third book that I've used, and is the best one. So that's the second half. So you'll be taking 2 exams for this class. They are not the exams are not comprehensive. There's no final. It's just 2 exams. So this book for the first half, that's what you should be reading now. And then the second half of the course will be this book. All right. Also, it's a good idea to keep up with what's going on in the financial world, with the economy. And we have a really good rate for the Wall Street Journal. So if you click on this link, this is the link for my account through with the Wall Street Journal, and you can get this special student rate for $4 a month. Really would recommend doing this. There's a lot of really insightful articles in the Wall Street Journal. So that's that. So that's recommended, but these 2 books are required. Okay, so what are the objectives of this course? What are you going to learn in this course? Well, we're going to be talking about basic macroeconomic terms, as I mentioned before: gross domestic product, the consumer price index. We'll talk about inflation. We'll talk about the unemployment rate. We'll talk about, let's see, what's another macro thing? Oh, down here, monetary policy versus fiscal policy, all right? So monetary policy, just real quick, that's the Federal Reserve basically manipulating the supply and demand of the money supply. Fiscal policy is the government. They're monitoring the money supply to either expand the economy or contract the economy. Right now, they're trying to contract the economy because they are worried about inflation, so they're raising interest rates. That's one way they contract the economy. Versus fiscal policy, which is the government, the federal government, trying to use taxes and spending to either contract or expand the economy. So briefly, that's what that is. We'll also look at globalization and trade and the economic impact on that. We'll also look at the business cycles, where we are in a business cycle and what the different business cycles are. And how economics is really more of an art than a science, because there's so many moving parts that it's really difficult to accurately forecast where the economy is, where it's going, and if we're in a recession or if we're in expansion. That's why we have these ups and downs instead of this, smooth line with constant growth, with increasing growth. We have these ups and downs in the economy because it is more of an art than a science. Okay, so those are some of the macro things we're going to be talking about. For the micro section, the second book, we're going to talk about, one of my favorite chapters is demand elasticity. We'll learn about the elasticity of demand and how, the difference between elastic demand and inelastic demand, and how that affects pricing and so forth. We'll talk about equilibrium, price and quantity, look at the sales function. We'll talk about also the industry, the competitiveness of an industry, as I mentioned before. You have, on one extreme, you have perfect competition. On the other extreme, you have a monopoly. And then in between, you have an oligopoly. And then you have what we call monopolistic competition. So we'll talk about all those different types of competitive frameworks. And then we'll also talk about Porter's 5 forces a little bit, and SWOT analysis a little bit, because you can use that for your project. So anyway, briefly, those are some of the outcomes, some of the things you'll get out of the class. So when the class is over, you're going to be able to explain in layman's terms what unemployment is, what inflation is, what is the consumer price index, what's gross domestic product, and you'll have a better understanding of globalization and trade, and is free trade good, or is protectionism better? All of the economic theory always tells us that free trade is good. You're better off with free trade, because if you don't have any barriers to trade, then you end up with higher standards of living for everybody, more goods, cheaper. It's an efficiency, so you have more goods at a cheaper price. But we kind of learned a lesson with COVID, in that when you just quit making everything in the US and are dependent on China, then maybe it's hard to get face masks. Maybe it's hard to get prescription drugs. Maybe it's hard to get computer chips. So we're learning a lesson that there is a downside to this free trade. There's an unintended consequence to this globalization, which we kind of learned during COVID. So we are bringing some things back, some manufacturing back into the US, partly, I think, because of the supply chain issues, but also because when manufacturing comes back into the US, it's not the old manufacturing where it's a bunch of menial labor. It's basically one person running a bunch of robots. And so it's a lot more high tech than it used to be. But anyway, that's all part of the globalization conversation. Okay, so let me move on to the course content. So this is a content/schedule. And I copied and pasted this onto Moodle. So you'll see that you can just refer back to this and just look at this table in Moodle to see when things are due. So these problem sets, this is what I was trying to think of, what I was saying about 10 minutes ago. This is what's due first. The first problem set or homework set. This is chapters 1 through 8. So this is the macro issues book. It's chapters 1 through 8. And as you've already seen, they're really short chapters. You're going to answer the questions in problem set 1 and turn that in via the portal in Moodle. It's already up there. It's due by midnight this Sunday, the 20th of March. So let me know if you have any questions, but it's already up, and just read the chapters and then answer those questions. Some of those questions, like particularly the first question, asks you to cite examples from your work. There's a few questions in there that ask you to think of examples from your current job or what have you. If you're not working now, then try to think of a past job. If you don't really have any experience that would enable you to answer the question, then maybe you can just talk to a family member or a friend, or interview somebody who you think might have a good example that you could share. All right, so then next week, so as I mentioned, I'm planning on posting some short videos to go with the notes for each of these chapters. And so give me till Wednesday night. By Wednesday night, or Wednesday afternoon at the latest, the 16th of March, I should have some short synopses posted for each of these chapters. All right, so then next week is problem set 2. Problem set 2 is going to be due. That's going to be due Sunday, 3/24. I'm sorry, I was thinking weekly, but we didn't have enough time to do that because it's an 8-week course. So this is due on Sunday. This is due on, I think this is a Thursday. So all of these are by midnight. So you'll do problem set 2. That'll be due on 3/24. And then problem set 3 is due 3/27. Problem set 4 is due 3/31. And then you'll be taking the exam on the 5th. Now, the exams you can take with ProctorU. You can read about that on the syllabus. You sign up with ProctorU and take the exam. You can take it through the testing center at Nichols, or I'm going to give you the option to take it with me on the 5th at 6 p.m. I'll let you know what classroom. But if you want to just come to a classroom on campus the night of the 5th, 6 o'clock, bring your laptop and you can take it's going to be a computer-based exam, obviously. You can take the exam with me. So that's on the 5th. Okay, then we start the second book. So you'll go over, these chapters are really short too, by the way. It looks like a lot of work, but the chapters are very short. So you'll have the first chapters 1 and 2 homework is going to be due on the 7th and so forth. So you'll see when all these homework assignments are due. And then you're going to take exam 2. That's going to be on May 2nd. And there again, I will give it and offer the opportunity for you to take it with me in class, in a classroom if you'd like to. Okay, so that's the first part of the course is these 2 exams. You go over the material and you take these 2 exams. The next part of the course is, or one of the other requirements of the course is a group project. Now, I have the groups assigned and I just have to put in the email addresses on this Excel spreadsheet. So I will have those groups posted by tomorrow, Tuesday, March 15th. So if you look by tomorrow evening, you'll see who your group members are, and you'll be able to email them and converse with them. And so anyway, I'll have that up by tomorrow. So what you're going to be doing is a group project. On that Excel spreadsheet, it tells you what group you're in, and it tells you what company you've been assigned. So I'll talk about the project in a minute, a little bit later, but there's a group project where you're going to have a written report and you're going to do a presentation. So the presentations you can do on Zoom. So there's a lot, I'm pretty flexible with these presentations. You can all go somewhere and do it on Zoom together, or we can do a Zoom call and you can just be sitting in your respective houses or on campus, wherever. And we can just have a Zoom meeting and you can each present your part. Or since I know a lot of you are on campus and live in Thibodaux, if you want to come into a classroom and do the presentation in person, I'm fine with that too. So either way, you can do it via Zoom or you can do it in person. And it is a live presentation. It's not recorded. So I want to either do live Zoom meetings for the presentation or in person. So I gave you a window here because I felt like after exam 2, it was just too compressed. So you have from April 25th to May 5th to schedule your presentation. And also I'll be giving, now the actual written report doesn't have to be finished or turned in until the 8th. So what I suggest doing is, of course, have the bulk of the report done. Ideally have it finished, but have as much of it done as you can. And then you're going to take some information from your report, and you're going to make PowerPoint slides or use Canva or whatever you want to use to make some presentation slides. And then you'll give your presentation. I'll give you some feedback on your presentation that you may want to include in your report. So you may make some changes to your report after your presentation. So your report should be like 95% done before you present, but keep that window open to make some changes after you get feedback from me. So anyway, the presentations from 4:25 to 5:05, okay? And then the written report, you'll turn into me via Moodle. It's due by midnight on the 8th, that's Sunday. That's a Sunday night. That's right here. So that's the deadline for the reports. Okay, so let's look at the structure. So as I mentioned, you've got problem sets and homework assignments. Those are all to be completed individually. And you're going to turn them in Moodle. So I'll let you know regarding the exams, I'll let you know ahead of time exactly what the format is. It may be all multiple choice, or there may be a few fill-in or a few problems and definitions, maybe some short answer, but I'll give you more specifics as we get closer to the exam. But it could be any combination of any of these four different formats: multiple choice, fill-in, problems, definitions, short answer. But I'll let you know, give you more details when we get closer. Okay, and then I talked about your project. So you're going to submit a paper, and that is regarding on your company that's been assigned to you. And you're going to also give a 20-minute presentation. And so here's some information about the paper. And there's also a much more detailed explanation of the written report or of the paper on Moodle. And I will also I'll be giving you some videos later on. I'll be doing some video synopses to give you more information about the paper. For right now, you just read this over to get an idea of what it is, but I'll be giving you more details. And you'll notice I have some information, a lot of stuff posted on Moodle that helps you, that will help you with the paper. I'll have a Zoom video where I'll go over each of those in detail to give you some more guidance on how to complete the paper. Also, I will be posting a sample of a prior group's work that was good, a good paper, a good report, so you can see what the report should look like, and you can use that as a guide. Okay, so anyway, go ahead and read this on your own. This gives you a brief description of what the report should look like. And then there's more detailed instructions on Moodle. All right, the length of the paper should be a minimum of 10 pages. That includes your charts and graphs, up to a maximum of 15 pages. All right, so here's the method of evaluation. The homework assignments are 100 points. The paper is 150. The presentation is 100 points. Your 2 exams are 100 points each. And then group participation is 50 points. So at the end of the course, you're going to evaluate your group members. And if everybody has equal participation and everything was good as far as the group cohesiveness, then you'll get the full points. But if there were some group members that maybe didn't participate, that were a problem, then you might not get the 50 points. So this is basically, this group participation grade is based on the evaluations that I received, the confidential evaluations that I received from you. Okay, so that's a total of 600 points. Now, this is important. You see these two asterisks here? So in order to pass the class, you have to get 110 points. You have to average, your two exams have to average 110 points. Okay, so you have to have, you can get 55 on each one and get the 110. But what you've got, so you have to do well enough on the exams so that your average of the two exams equals 110 points in order to pass the class. If you do not earn the 110 points, then you're going to, maximum grade that you can get in the course is a D. So make sure that you take the exam seriously and study hard for those exams. There should be no problem of getting, at least a 55 on each of them, but you have to put the time in to study. Okay, we shouldn't really have a problem. I mean, if you have some extenuating circumstances and can't turn an assignment in on time, let me know ahead of time. But hopefully that won't be a problem. Just make sure you keep up with the course, because I know some of you probably, this is going to be your second course. You probably took an 8-week course already during term A, so you hopefully are used to the fast pace. So just make sure you keep up with it. Okay, we'll be using Moodle for emails and so forth, or you can email me directly. I mean, when I send emails to you, I normally, if it's to the whole class, I'll use Moodle, but you'll be using Moodle to turn in assignments and so forth, and to take the exams. So the exams, as I mentioned, are through Moodle, or I'm sorry, the exams are administered through Moodle. So what you'll do, if you're not familiar with ProctorU, you'll go to ProctorU, set up an account, and they charge to take the exam. So you sign up to take the exam. If you're going to use ProctorU, make sure you sign up early, because they charge if you wait. If it's within a 72-hour window, they will charge you more. They charge a premium. So make sure you sign up early. And I'll put the exams up probably tomorrow on ProctorU. So if you want to sign up early, you can. I'll have that done by tomorrow night as well. So anyway, you go to ProctorU, you sign up to take the exam. And then once you get into ProctorU and they verify your credentials, when you're taking the exam, then you just go to Moodle. You just go to your Moodle account and you pull up the exam, and then they give you the password and you take the exam. You can also, as I mentioned, it's free if you want to take it at Nichols. We have a I think it's free for, pretty sure it's free with Nichols, and we have a testing center at Nichols, or you can take them with me. I'm going to, as I said, 6 o'clock, on the dates that are on the schedule, I'll be there and you can take the exam with me. All right, so there's 2 exams. And then this is just more information about ProctorU. Here's the testing center. Yeah, it is no charge for the testing center. They're not doing the COVID distancing anymore. I should have deleted that. And we're not doing face masks anymore either, in case you haven't been on campus for a while. That ended finally. All right, so for the testing materials, you can have a calculator. There are some math problems, not in the first test, but on the second test, there's some math. And I don't think there's any on the first test, very little. Maybe, well, there probably are some calculations on the unemployment rate, but that's about it. And so you can have a calculator and you can have scratch paper. Okay, the drop date is April 12th. This is just the academic dishonesty policy. This is just stuff we have to put in the syllabus. You can read this on your own. So, okay, well, that's it. So let me go, well, before I finish this, let me go into Zoom and I'll show you real quick. See if I can get, hang on, see if I can get in. I want to get into, not Zoom, I want to get into Moodle and show you where that's this stuff is real quick, if I can do this without messing things up. Just a second. All right, so here's the syllabus. Here's the class schedule. Here's the instructions for the written report. Here's the instructions for the oral report. So these are the more detailed instructions. This is hidden right now, but right underneath this, you're going to have a sample, 1 or 2 sample reports here to refer to. And then if you come down here, these are helpful hints for the project. And I'll go over this later in a synopsis to give you some more information about this. But if you, feel free to read this for now if you want to, but I'll give you, as we move on, I'll give you some additional, I'll have a synopsis uploaded. Here's some, these are articles, links and articles for discussion. And so this is mainly dealing with the paperback book that we're going to be going over first. And so when I have those synopses for the different chapters, I'll refer to these articles. And so you'll see them. You'll see my reference to these articles in the synopses. And then, okay, so here's problem set 1. This is due. Oops, wait a second. I thought I changed the date on this. Okay, this must not have saved. Okay, this is going to be due this Sunday. I'll change the date as soon as I get off of this Zoom call. So problem set 1 is going to be due. I think the date should be in the turn-in portal. Just a second. Let me look at this. Hang on. Hang on 1 second here. Okay, so this is going to be due by midnight this Sunday, which is 3/20/22. And then this is where you will turn it in at this turn-in portal. So you'll just go to that turn-in portal and you'll just upload your file right here. You can upload up to like 20 files. Of course, you won't have that many, but if you have more than 1 file, you can upload all the files here. And I did already have the date here changed. So it's due on this Sunday, March 20th. So that's where you will turn in your homework this Sunday. And then this is an article that you should read with chapter 1. And then here's the notes and the outline for chapter 1. And then I have some short notes. If you haven't looked at these, it's like they're each not even a page, but it just gives you some of the main takeaways. It tells you what to focus on for the chapters. And so these are the notes outlined for each chapter. And so I'll be posting some video synopses for each of these to go along. I'll have this done by Wednesday. Okay, so that's it basically. Let me know, send me an email or text or give me a call if you have any questions. And welcome to finance, or welcome to Econ 500. And I hope I have a lot of good comments about this class. People really seem to enjoy this class and find it very interesting. So I hope you'll enjoy the class and stop by my office and see me sometime to say hello, since it's not a face-to-face class. Take care and good night.